Welcome to the Get Wisdom podcast. We're really glad you're joining us today. You know how it is, sometimes you're just looking for that new perspective, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe a way to get unstuck, or, just a fresh approach to some of life's big questions. For you folks looking for a new way to do life, maybe figure out how to get unstuck in, well, any area of life, or if you just need a new perspective on where you are right now, we think we can assist you with all of these things. You can check us out at www.getwisdom.cc. I'm Miranda.
And I'm Jay.
And we'll be taking you through a really powerful white paper today by Brent Zeman. Our goal really is to provide you with some actionable insights, things you can use to steer your self-awareness, your emotional tone, and importantly, your behavior on purpose.
Indeed. Today we're taking a look into Brent Zeman's fascinating white paper. It's called Understanding the Three Molders of Meaning. And it presents this really compelling argument. Meaning isn't something you find, it's something you mold. And what's truly, I think, profound here is how this framework makes that whole process, which often feels kind of intangible, into something, well, practical, systematic even.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Our mission today is to explore these three fundamental molders. That's physiology, focus, and language. And we want to show you how you can actually turn them into like a tangible operating system for your own life. We're talking concrete steps, actionable stuff, designed to create genuine shifts. So let's dive straight into Brent Zeman's core idea, meaning isn't some, elusive treasure you just stumble upon. No, it's actively molded every single minute by these three key levers: your physiology, your focus, and your language. This is an abstract theory. It's presented as a deliberate, tangible process we all engage in, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. And the executive summary of this white paper makes that very clear. The aim is really to transform these levers into a practical operating system for you. The ultimate goal is to empower you to steer your own self-awareness, your emotional tone, and your behavior on purpose. And it's grounded in this pretty powerful maxim from the Get Wisdom philosophy, which says, if one fails to fulfill on a task, it's only because they lack the courage to undertake such a task. It really places the power squarely in your hands, you see. It shifts the narrative away from external blame towards internal agency.
That is a powerful perspective. Maybe challenging for some, but it definitely sounds like the kind of empowerment many people are looking for. That approach to life, getting unstuck, gaining that fresh perspective. It sounds like this framework offers a real sense of control over our internal landscape. Okay, so before we get into the molders themselves, the white paper lays out some foundational operating principles. These aren't just guidelines. They're described as the bedrock for making this whole approach actually work.
They really are. And they profoundly shift how you might approach personal growth. First up is discovery over certainty. Now, this is quite a liberating concept, I think. It invites you to treat your day, your outcomes, even your mistakes, not as judgments on your worth, but as pure data, unbiased data. Imagine the psychological freedom in approaching life not to be right, but simply to learn, to adapt with curiosity, iterating without all the drama.
Yeah, that's a powerful reframe. It sounds like it turns failure from a dead end into just essential feedback, accelerating growth without that heavy emotional weight of needing to be perfect all the time.
Precisely. Then there's intention over optics. This one emphasizes that tangible results, what you actually do, are far more important than any kind of performance theater. It's about what you actually achieve, the real impact, not just how things look to others or even how they look to yourself sometimes.
Right, so authentic progress over just looking busy or sounding good, that seems to cut right through a lot of modern pressures, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The third principle is transformation over rearrangement. So this isn't about just shuffling the clutter around, in your life or in your mind. It's about actively identifying and then removing what no longer serves you. It's aiming for genuine foundational change.
That's a deep one, really getting to the root of things, not just superficial fixes.
Indeed. Fourth, rhetoric shapes reality. Now, this principle highlights the profound power of your language, both internal and external. The words you choose actually aim your attention, and that attention, in turn, drives your actions, and it shapes your perceived reality.
Wow. So our language isn't just describing our world, it's actively kind of constructing it. That's a pretty significant realization.
It is. And finally, the fifth one, consistency beats intensity. This is vital. It emphasizes that those small, boring, repeated actions, as the paper calls them, are what ultimately lead to significant sustainable change. It's the daily discipline, and not just the occasional big heroic gesture that truly transforms things over time.
Okay, so for you, the listener, what this really means is adopting a mindset focused on real, deep change and consistent incremental effort. It's about being intentional, courageous, and disciplined in small ways, often unglamorous ways maybe, every single day. All right, with those foundational principles in mind, let's dive into the three molders themselves now, starting with physiology, how you carry yourself. And here's where it gets really interesting, I think, because it's about your body, your posture, your breath, your movement, even your facial tone.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how specific physiological states can either really help you or, frankly, hurt you. So, for instance, an upright stance, taking longer exhales, maintaining present eye contact, these things can genuinely lift your energy and clarity. They help create a high agency state. Conversely, things like slouching, shallow breathing, or maybe keeping your gaze down, they can quickly invite a low-power, low-agency state. You have to think about the subtle messages your body is constantly sending to your own brain.
Hmm. So if our physiology isn't just reacting to how we feel, but it's actually an input into it, what's a common, maybe subtle physiological habit that people unknowingly use against themselves? And like how quickly can a simple shift make a difference?
Well, often it's something as simple as that shallow kind of chest breathing,
Yeah.
or maybe a perpetually slumped posture while staring at a screen for hours. These habits, when they're sustained, they signal fatigue and disengagement to your brain. Siemens research suggests that even a brief, like 2-minute intentional shift, maybe just sitting upright, taking a few deep, long exhales, can immediately cue a feeling of greater clarity and agency. It's about consciously retraining that feedback loop.
That makes sense. Now, there is an evidence note in the white paper about physiology. It mentions that while early power pose studies reported hormone shifts, later research shows mixed replication on those biochemical guarantees.
Right, that's a really important distinction to make. The point isn't necessarily that a specific pose will biochemically guarantee a certain hormone shift. Instead, the idea is to treat posture and breath as useful behavioral cues. They actively support clarity and agency because they prompt your mind into a more resourceful state. Regardless of specific hormone fluctuations measured in a lab, it's more about the immediate behavioral shift and your internal perception of that shift.
Okay, so it's about using your body to cue a better state, not just passively waiting for it to happen. Maybe think about how you feel right now, listening. Are you sitting tall? Taking a deep breath. Just that small adjustment right now could initiate a shift. Okay, let's move to the second molder. Focus. What you attend to. Our attention is such a precious resource, isn't it? And finite. This molder is all about the objects, the things your attention locks onto throughout your day.
It truly is. And what helps, in terms of focus, is consciously aiming your attention at controllables, things you actually have influence over, and also at desired outcomes and at concrete, actionable tasks. This directs your energy productively, you see. What hurts, on the other hand, involves things many of us are probably guilty of sometimes. Mindlessly doom scrolling through news feeds, maybe repeatedly ruminating. That's that endless, often negative looping thought process over past slights or grievances. Or feeding your attention to uncontrollables, things you can't impact anyway.
Yeah, it really makes you think about where you're directing that mental energy all day long, doesn't it? It feels like a very conscious choice, sometimes moment by moment, to pull your attention away from what drains you and steer it towards what empowers you. What do you think is one of the hardest parts about shifting focus for people?
I think the biggest challenge is often just breaking the automatic habit, the habit of focusing on what feels urgent or negative, even if it's totally unproductive. Zeman really emphasizes that it requires a conscious, often immediate redirection. The power lies in making that intentional choice again and again, moment by moment.
Makes sense. Okay, now for the third molder, language or rhetoric. The words and frames you choose. This is all about the incredible power of your internal dialogue, your self-talk, and also the language you use when speaking to others.
Right. And what helps here is using precise, what the paper calls agency-forward phrasing. So instead of vague statements or passive language, think today's task is, or I choose to. This kind of language powerfully reinforces your sense of control and intention. What hurts, conversely, involves using helpless scripts, those phrases that disempower you, like, I can't, or it's just how I am. These statements actually embed a lack of agency right into your perception of reality. They literally frame your capabilities, often negatively.
Those helpless scripts can be so insidious, can't they? They often feel true, but maybe they're just frames we've adopted without really questioning them. I bet a lot of people don't even realize they're doing it.
Indeed. And it's crucial to highlight another evidence note here from the paper regarding language. Claims that words can directly alter physical matter, like those, rice water experiments you sometimes hear about, those aren't robustly replicated by science. Let's be clear about that. However, the power of language is still immense because it reliably changes cognition, emotion, and behavior. That's well established. So while your words might not literally make water molecules rearrange themselves, they absolutely change your brain and how you act. And that's the power you should definitely learn to leverage.
So, what this all means for your daily conversations, and even just that voice inside your head, is that every word, every phrase is an opportunity. An opportunity to either build up your sense of agency and possibility, or perhaps unknowingly tear it down. Okay, this isn't just theory, though. Brent Zeeman provides a pretty concrete operating system for actually applying these molders. Let's look at how you can implement this in your life, starting with setting some clear objectives.
Yeah, the objectives architecture is fundamental to this. You're encouraged to choose, say, 2 to 3 measurable 30-day objectives. These objectives are designed to actively prove that this molding system is working for you. And the white paper gives some fantastic, really precise examples. For instance, Objective A, related to physiology, suggests committing to complete 60, that's 60, 2-minute physiology resets, that's the upright stance, long exhales, eyes level specifically before your key daily interactions, like meetings or important calls.
Wow, that's incredibly specific and actionable. Not just improve my posture, but a concrete, measurable target tied directly to impact.
Exactly. And for Objective B, focusing on focus, the suggestion is to run 40 focus resets. These are resets that successfully convert that rumination, that unproductive looping thought, into one concrete task you can immediately act upon. Just one task. And then for Objective C, tied to language, the objective could be something like publishing 4 weekly rhetoric audits. That means you identify specific weak phrases you've retired, like I can't, and document what stronger, more empowering phrases you've replaced them with. These audits become tangible proof of your intentional language shifts.
Those are really powerful examples. They make it so clear how to apply this stuff. Now, how do we integrate this into our daily routine? Because consistency, like we said, is key, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the daily task plan comes in. It's designed to be structured, but also simple. Doesn't take much time. So in the morning, maybe just 3 minutes, write down your intention for the day, plus 3 specific tasks mapped directly to physiology, focus, and language. Then, before meetings or maybe other high-stakes interactions, you do a quick 90-second physiology reset. Stand tall, inhale for 4 counts, exhale for 6. Keep your eyes level.
That sounds incredibly practical. A quick way to center yourself and step into a meeting with real intention.
It is. And when you feel yourself drifting, into unproductive thoughts or maybe actions like scrolling, you run a 30-second focus reset. You just name your desired outcome and then pinpoint one brave task, just one you will complete now. You also establish a rhetoric guardrail for the day, ban one weak phrase, just pick one, like maybe I have to, and consciously replace it with a stronger one, like I choose to.
Yeah.
And then in the evening, another 3 minutes or so is spent logging evidence of your tasks, maybe a quick link to what the paper calls an artifact, some tangible piece of proof that you acted, and just write one line. Today I discovered. This builds that crucial feedback loop. And a really critical point Zeeman emphasizes, if a task stalls, if you get stuck, you immediately revisit your courage. Then you have the dose, make the task smaller, and execute it now.
Have the dose, execute now. That's a brilliant little mantra, isn't it? A great way to overcome procrastination and just keep the momentum going. And the white paper even provides practical playbooks, right? Like little cue cards for these actions.
Yes, exactly. These are designed as really practical, easy to remember prompts. The physiology cue card just distills it down. Stand tall, shoulders soft, eyes level, long exhale, speak on the exhale. Simple. For the focus reset, it's just desired outcome, one task I will complete now. Direct your action immediately. And the rhetoric guardrail involves retiring those common unhelpful phrases like have to, can't, or always, and consciously replacing them with empowering language like I choose, I haven't yet, or today's task is.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine having those written down, maybe on a sticky note or even on my phone, just as quick reminders throughout the day. And then how do we track our progress with all this over time?
Okay, so for that, you use the Mulder's Alignment Index. This is a daily 1 to 5 rating system. It tracks a rolling 7-day average across 5 key areas. Is your physiology present? Is your focus aimed well at controllables? Is your rhetoric aligned with your goals? Are your tasks honored, especially under pressure? And is your basic energy stewardship, things like sleep, movement, fuel, optimized? The benchmarks provided are pretty clear. A score below 3.0 suggests you're maybe fragile. 3.0 to 4.0 indicates you're functional. And getting above 4.0 means you're truly aligned and operating at a high level according to this system.
Wow, this truly is a comprehensive blueprint for intentional living. It really emphasizes those small, consistent actions, doesn't it? Not grand gestures. And it combines that with a clear, measurable way to track your progress and, well, continuously improve.
And of course, no system is without its potential challenges. So the white paper directly addresses some practical obstacles and offers really simple, no-nonsense antidotes. For instance, if you're experiencing low energy, the suggested antidote is that 2-minute physiology reset, immediately followed by the smallest faithful task you could possibly manage right then.
Okay, so it's about breaking through that feeling of overwhelm by making the very first step incredibly small and achievable.
Exactly that. If you find yourself lost in a doom scroll drift on your phone, the advice is pretty direct. Exile your phone during focus blocks, put it away, and immediately write down one desired outcome you can act on now. For negative self-talk, the antidote is to swap to a neutral description of the situation, connect it to a concrete task, and then prove it with an artifact. Find some tangible evidence of your positive action. And if you miss a task, it brings you back to that courage check. Have the dose, execute today, and link that artifact as proof.
Right. It's all about making it manageable and building that immediate evidence of action, reinforcing that positive feedback loop. The white paper also mentions a 30-60-90 objective roadmap. That sounds like it guides the progression, showing how the system evolves over time.
Yes, that roadmap shows you how to move from just initial implementation towards mastery. So days 0-30 are about the install phase, setting your 3 molding objectives, running the daily plan consistently, and diligently tracking that index score. Then days 31-60 are about tighten, shortening your time to reset when you notice drift, upgrading the specifics of your rhetoric, and maybe publishing those weekly rhetoric audits to really refine your language. And finally, days 61-90 are about scale, perhaps automating reminders, templatizing your resets for efficiency, maybe even teaching the model to appear to deepen your own understanding, and celebrating visible transformation's actual results, not just, performance theatrics.
That provides a really clear path to mastery, doesn't it? Showing how to integrate these small actions into a truly transformative practice over, say, 3 months.
Okay, just to wrap up, let's address a few common questions that might come up with this kind of intentional approach.
Absolutely. A very common question is, do I have to feel different first before I can act? And the answer Zeman provides is a pretty clear no. The guidance is to act aligned, use your physiology, focus, and language intentionally, and the desired feelings usually follow the action. Action first. Another question that often comes up is, are these posture changes just fake it till you make it?
Mm-hmm.
And the white paper clarifies this. Treat them as powerful cues. They support clarity and agency by prompting your mind into a more resourceful state without needing to promise specific direct biochemical changes, as we discussed earlier.
Okay, so it's not about forcing an emotion, but actively prompting a resourceful state through deliberate, intentional action. Makes sense. Precisely. And finally, what if I don't fulfill on a task? What if I fail? The advice is consistent. It triggers that courage check. The antidote is always to have the dose, make it smaller, execute it now, and link the artifact. The emphasis is always, always on taking immediate small action to maintain momentum and build that crucial self-trust.
This exploration of Brent Seaman's 3 molders of meaning has really given us a powerful framework, I think. It's a strong reminder that our experience of life isn't just something that happens to us passively. It's something we actively shape, moment by moment.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, maybe it raises an important question for you, the listener, to consider right now. What small, brave task can you commit to doing right now, or maybe today, using your physiology, focus, or language that will begin to mold the meaning you truly desire for your life? Just one small thing.
That's a fantastic thought to leave everyone with, a real call to action. If you're inspired by this and want to learn more, or maybe get some guidance on how to implement these ideas yourself, you can contact Brent Seaman directly. His number is 972-301-2878, or you can email him at getwisdomprinciple@gmail.com. And please don't forget to check out our sponsors for today's Get Wisdom podcast at www.getwisdom.cc sponsors. Thank you so much for joining us for this insightful exploration today. We really hope you found some invaluable nuggets of knowledge. Until next time, keep digging, keep learning, and keep molding your meaning. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the Get Wisdom podcast.